As I think all of you know, players made a comprehensive proposal on all the core economic issues today. We eliminated the concern we had about the big gap on the player's share, moved more than 80% of what the commissioner had said our differences were in their direction. Had given them proposals in a couple of other areas. We took a break midday. They gave us a response. There was a reaffirmation of a number of agreements we had previously reached on relatively small issues. There were a couple of other small things, but on the big things there was, as of today, no reciprocity in any meaningful sense. No movement on the player's share, no movement on salary arbitration eligibility, no movement on free agency eligibility, no agreement on a pension plan, although they say they'd like to do it, etc. So where we are is the players made a dramatic move, I think by anybody's standards, to say this is what you want. We can move a long way in your direction. If we're going to get this game back on the ice and the fans are going to be able to watch it, we got to hear something from you. And what we heard was what I mentioned to you. So our task today is to go back and report to the players. And that's where we are. One of you is going to ask me what happens next, and the answer is I don't know. We'll consider, talk to the players, and then see.
Are they open to meet again soon?
What?
Are they open to meet again?
Players have not cut off negotiations at any point or indicated that they're not available to meet. I can tell you that a lot of the people that were there today, given the response we got, thought they had a lot better things to do on the night before Thanksgiving than hear what we got.
What was the reaction on the financial aspect of your proposal?
They appreciated it, but reiterated it that they can't move.
In other words, they aren't going to come off.
Thanks, but you have to agree to what we said.
So there's nothing that they like, absolutely nothing of your proposal today?
Nothing, non-significant economic areas, no.
Is your sense that essentially they're saying they want what they want?
You'll have to ask them that and draw your own conclusions. You know, but I will tell you the single questions players ask me, which is, where is their reciprocity in the bargaining process on the other side? And it's pretty hard to find.
Generally speaking, you have to think that this would get you some traction and at least get you into a negotiation.
I don't make predictions. I can say that the players thought that given what the owners had said about you have to do it our way on the share and so on, that it was worth an effort to see if an agreement could be reached. You know, and we got the reaction we got. We will see what happens, but I'm not going to make any comment about what happens next until after we report to the players.
Can you talk about the effort that the players made in the last 24 to 36 hours?
I'm not sure I understand.
What I mean by that is, obviously you arrived with a new proposal today.
Mm-hmm.
There's big steps, if I do understand what the players made.
Yes.
Can you talk about that process and how deep?
Okay, look, the process is one that we always go through. We evaluate the situation, we outline alternatives, we talk to the negotiating committee, executive board, other interested players. We discuss it, we come to a conclusion as to what the best course of action is, and we follow out that course of action. There are a lot of players that are interested. There were a lot of players that were involved. There were a lot of players that expressed opinions.
Don, how did you value, in terms of percentage, your offer year over year?
I think if you look back at your notes, you'll see that the commissioner said we still have a $1 billion gap between us. We removed the guarantee in terms of it relating to the specific dollar value of the share, with one small exception, was that once we start over again, it doesn't go backwards from whatever it is. And we clarified that the difference is to the dollar, $182 million over 5 years. So by that calculation, the percentage move from what the commissioner had said is over 80%.
But what is your calculation for your share of HRR?
It depends on what the damage is and what the growth rate is. Obviously, it's going to be as a result of the lockout, which was unilaterally imposed. The soft landing is going to take a little longer.
What was the thinking behind having it so that the share can never drop from one year to the next?
players are making enormous concessions to the owners, and we want some protection on the downside.
Are you disappointed by the reaction?
I think that's fair, yes.
What would you like to see happen next?
I'm going to report to the players, and we'll go from there.
Is this proving harder than baseball?
Oh, you don't make comparisons between the two. I think that
You never thought
when
of
you're
that?
involved in when you're involved in a tough negotiation, as this one is, as I was more than once in baseball, you tend to view the thing you're involved in as what you're focused on. It's pretty difficult, I think, to make comparisons when you're involved in one because you don't have the right kind of distance.
I mean, when I do the math, or others have done the math roughly, it comes out to about 52% of HRR over the 5 years, and I think 56, 54
And
for the first two.
you'll recall that what happened was that they started out by saying it has to fall over time. We said there's a way to do this. You can guarantee the share. You can pay attention to the fact that you've signed contracts that your name is on the bottom of, which you committed to certain things, and now you want to change the rules, which you may be legally entitled to do. Doesn't mean it's the right thing to do when you do that, and so on and so forth. So, you know, look.
I'm just saying.
Look, you know, the percentage is going to be obviously a little higher in the first year, but that's because of the lockout damage, which we didn't cause. And we're still willing to pay for our share of it. Yes.
Do you expect to make the next proposal, or are you hoping that they will?
I have no thought on that at the moment, but, you know, players did an awful lot here.
Don, could you explain why the players are thinking what's a 5-year deal instead of a longer deal?
I've explained that before for a couple of reasons. Just in shorthand, first of all, by the time you get to 5 years, you're going to have half or a little more than half of the players that are going to be playing will not have been here, will not have participated, will not have had an opportunity to vote on this agreement. And at some point, you've got to pay attention to that. This is a democracy. What the players want matters, and having an opportunity to determine their own future matters. Secondly, we can predict economics out, you know, some period of time, but with each passing year, it becomes progressively harder. 5 years is a long time.
What will be?
Okay.
Can I just ask one more thing? What will be
Do I have
your
to answer?
message? Yeah, you do. What will be your message to the players on that call?
My message to the players will be fundamentally to report what happened, point by point. You know, for whatever it's worth, if you tell the players what happened and you let them draw their own conclusions, they understand it pretty quickly. They're bright people.